If you're an engineer interested in getting into aviation, or you're practicing in aviation and you want to get your professional engineering license, which discipline of the PE exam should you take? Well, in today's edition of Pass the PE Exam, I have with me Devon Baummer. Devon is a licensed professional engineer. He's also a civil engineer in aviation at Mead Hunt. Devon, I'm going to jump right in here. You are in aviation. You are a licensed professional engineer. Talk about the PE process for you. How did you know which exam to take? Who steered you in the right direction? Take us through that process. All right, I'm happy to have with me today Devon Baummer. Devon is a licensed professional engineer. He's a civil engineer in aviation at Mead Hunt. And Devon, you're a licensed professional engineer. You work in aviation. We've had you on our podcast. I just have a question for you. We get a lot of questions from civil engineers that are interested in getting into aviation and they want to get licensed. So they're always curious about, what do I do in the exam? Which segment do I take? Talk about your process. You knew you wanted to get into aviation when you took the exam. How did you approach it?
Yeah, so the civil engineering exam, there's the different disciplines. I think the two that are most applicable to, or most similar to the job that you actually have, are transportation and construction. There is no aviation track within the civil engineering exam front, but a lot of when you're actually doing design on aviation, it is transportation design. Essentially, you're designing a runway. It's the same as a road, just with different requirements. Or on the construction front, you're still doing construction work, similar, like you're not doing construction engineering at all, but you are doing construction. So I took the transportation one. I do have coworkers that have taken water or geotech. There is no cut and dry path to take similar to aviation. I know coming out of the test, a lot of people said, oh, a lot of that work was similar to what I do every day. I kind of taught myself transportation from the ground up. I hadn't done much design by the time I took the test, much like serious alignments and grading design. But generally speaking, I'd say transportation is probably the most applicable to what we do in aviation.
And when you took it, so you took it and you passed it, let's say, so in the state where you're licensed, you don't necessarily have to be licensed or have any kind of specific designation in aviation. You just have to, ethically speaking, know aviation to practice it, correct?
Yeah. And so I'm never going to stamp a building drawing. As long as I don't have to. But there are designations you can get within aviation. There's the AAAE, American Airport Executives. I can't ever remember the full acronym. Okay. But they have you can get within that the certified member designation. Okay. A lot of our airport clients have it. It's essentially, the ins and outs of airports. It's a less stringent test than the PE. But it is a way to show that you have an interest specifically on airports. And there is a test process to take that one.
Yeah. So just a couple things to recap here, because the reason I wanted to ask Devon this is because we do get questions about this. So first of all, if you are in civil engineering, you may be interested in getting into aviation, the transportation and construction segments of the exam are probably going to be the ones that are closest to what you'll do. Most likely transportation may be the closest to what you do in aviation. That being said, you're not required to take one or the other. You can take whichever section you want. And in most states, again, you have to check your state to be sure. In some states, you do have to be designated like a specific type of engineer when you get your license, but in a lot of states, it's not. You're just a licensed professional engineer. And by the code of ethics, you do what the knowledge that you have, you can practice in those areas, right? If not, you're putting yourself, your license at risk. And of course, you're putting the public at risk. If you were to go design a bridge and you were an electrical engineer, that's not going to work out that well, most likely. So that's important to know. Also, Devon gave us you can get some designations unrelated to the PE, but you can get some designations in aviation, which you can find out more about through the Accredited Airport Executive AAE program. We can link to that, but it's AAE.org if you want to learn more information about that. And I think what Devon said was also important in that a lot of times when you go for the PE exam, you've yet to engage in a lot of hands-on design. Like he mentioned, he hasn't done a lot of alignments or grading designs or things like that. You have to learn it. And hopefully you can enjoy the videos on our channel here, that we have a lot of videos with tips and sample problems. But at the end of the day, you kind of roll your sleeves up, prepare for the exam, and maybe talk to some people like Devon did to understand for him in aviation, what was the best approach, right? What was the best exam type to take? And you may not be in aviation. Maybe you're thinking another discipline, same thing. talk to people you work with, talk to mentors, talk to professors, and try to understand what you think would be most aligned with the job that you're going to do. So Devon, once again, thanks so much for a couple of minutes here and pass the PE exam. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Devon today. I hope it kind of, gives you some insights into which is the best segment of the exam for you to take. And if you did enjoy this channel, please consider subscribing here and also leave us some comments below this video so we can answer them in future Pass the PE exam videos. We will publish weekly, so maybe you have a specific question on the exam or a problem that you need help solving. Pass the PE exam will have you covered. I'll see you next week on Pass the PE exam.